To observe 5 precepts, please recite Namaskari 3 times with me. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma. It has been a year. What happened? What has happened to you? Have you achieved something? Because I want to see the progress. You can see some progress there. We have 4 Anagarika Mahatmyas. You offered, this program offered them to the Sasana. And there are some Anagarikas as well. You offered them. I can see that you like to offer things. You like to earn merits. That's a good sign. But anyway, you have been doing that. That's why we always ask you to practice the path as well. Because practicing the path is perhaps new to you. But offerings, earning merit, I think you are really good at that. You started that before me, before I was born even. Therefore you like to offer things, and you offered your daughters and sons to the Sasana. And you offered this very place to conduct this sacred sermon every Saturday, every Sunday. Sorry. And you initiate an awesome opportunity that people can use to understand the Dhamma. I really appreciate that. Among those offerings, and we have another offering, another 2 offerings today. You all can rejoice in merit. I think before I start the sermon, I want you to rejoice in merits by seeing that. As you all know, now we allow you to offer paddy field. Before we rejected them. Rejected means we asked you not to do that because we didn't want at that time. But now we can see in the future we may need 1,000 acres to cultivate and feed the Mahasangha, Bhikshu, Bhikshuni, Upasaka, Upasika. As you all know, we have approximately 250 monks. Last year, perhaps we had 200 or less than that. Every year, we get more. And one day you will be there, I'm pretty sure. I think most of you still work. Therefore, perhaps you can't come and join us. Or perhaps you don't understand the Dhamma yet. Is that okay for me to say these things? Perhaps you are still breathing, that's why you don't come. I'm really good at insulting, you know that? But I don't mean to insult you. I want you to change. I want you to experience what we experience. That's why we do all these things. That's why sometimes I insult you. However, we will get more and more people in the monastery. One day you will come and you will stay there. Therefore, mainly our Australian devotees, Australian New Zealand devotees, they suggested that they are willing to cultivate 100 acres of paddy field and other crops as well. 100 acres. They have that project. Therefore, now we allow you to do that. Allow means I'm not asking you to do that. When you offer, now we are ready to accept. Therefore, today, we have a sacred offering to the Sasana, a paddy field. We'll all rejoice in merit by seeing that. I invite those devotees to come to the stage and offer your hard-earning properties to the Sasana. I'll invite Mahasangha to come to the stage. I recite a stanza. Please repeat after me. Agatassa nagatassa chatuddisassa etang khettavatum buddha pamukassa sakalassa bhikkhu sanghassa dema dutiyampi agatassa nagatassa chatuddisassa etang khettavatum buddha pamukassa sakalassa bhikkhu sanghassa dema atiyampi agatassa nagatassa chatuddisassa etang khettavatum buddha pamukassa sakalassa bhikkhu sanghassa dema. Good. And we have another offering, and you all can rejoice in merit by witnessing that. Agatassa nagatassa chatuddisassa etang bhuming buddha pamukassa sakalassa bhikkhu sanghassa dema Dutiyampi Agatassa Nagatassa Chatuddisassa Etang Bhuming Buddha Pamukassa Sakalassa Bhikkhu Sanghassa Dema Tatiyampi Agatassa Nagatassa Chatuddisassa Etang Bhuming Buddha Pamukassa Sakalassa Bhikkhu Sanghassa Dema. So perfect. I said, you offered things to Sasana. When it comes to Sasana, that means that's the salvation we all have. Sasana. You offered that to everyone. Everyone who wants to attain Nibbāna. That's why it said, Agatassa Nagatassa. Chatuddisassa. Almost everyone. Whoever comes to the Sasana will be benefited whenever you offer something. That's not a simple thing. That's not a simple offering. You can earn a lot of merit by offering to the Sasana, because Sasana is so special. It's so special not because I have ordained in this Sasana. Sasana is so special because that's the only sanctuary you have to attain Nibbāna, to achieve your salvation. You need a sanctuary. The proper meaning of Sasana is for Margapala. That's the Sasana. We need to achieve those Margapala. You have to be Sotapanna. I think you all know the words. We all can understand Sotapanna, the word Sotapanna. Therefore, I don't have to say Sri Mentri. Everybody should attain at least Sotapanna. Everybody should be. After that, there are another 3 Margapala you have to achieve in the future. When you listen to sermons, you should determine that you should attain the supreme bliss of Nibbāna, at least to see. You have to see your salvation. That's the primary goal of this sermon. Not only this sermon, our sermons. To show you your path. You have to see that. Before you start walking, you have to see the path. You have to see the target before you shoot. In that case, I can see you are very lucky. You are very lucky because you have a great teacher to teach you. Because I can see that he is the best student. I always tell. He is the best student. If someone is the best student, he is the best teacher. You have Mahasangha with him. And most of you love him so much as your own son. I can say that. Sometimes you want to offer things to him. At that time, I wanted to ask, can't you give something to me? A bit? At least a toffee? Huh? Offer him a car, a bungalow. But for me, there's a toffee. I think that's love. That's love he has built in you. You love the Mahasangha. You respect the Mahasangha because you have seen the Mahasangha. The Dhamma helped you to see the Mahasangha. And you saw the Dhamma, therefore, you respect Sasana a lot. That's why you can achieve something. Because you should be meritorious to achieve your salvation. I can guarantee that. If you are meritorious, you will understand the Dhamma. Otherwise, you will hear the Dhamma. Whenever you come here, you will hear the Dhamma. Hearing and understanding is two different things. Hearing is not enough. When you hear, you interpret it as per your knowledge. That's not the understanding. When you understand the Dhamma, you will use it. When you understand the Dhamma, you will be the Dhamma. When you be the Dhamma, you will see the world as it is. But now you won't see the world. You can't see the world, ladies and gentlemen. You can't see the world. What you see is not the world. What you see is not the reality. You see your own mental illusions. Like you see me. When you see me, you see a man here, a monk, perhaps Guru Hamduru, Guru Tera. That's your mental imagination. Actually, what you see is some colors. You can't see more than that. You only see colors. You don't see a stage. You don't see a statue. You don't see these decorations. You don't see any of them. You only see colors. When you see colors, you create objects because you want to be the subject. The ego. When I say ego, I'm not talking about pride. I'm talking about the false sense of existence. The ego wants to exist. Therefore, the ego wants to create objects. That's how you see objects, ladies and gentlemen. Otherwise, there is no such thing called objects in the world. Perhaps you won't believe that. Because the ego doesn't want to believe it. Otherwise, if the ego believes that, the ego can't exist. Today you exist because of these objects. You can see these objects, therefore you feel yourself. You perceive yourself because of these objects, ladies and gentlemen. Not these objects. When I say these objects, no. This is not an object. Nothing is an object here. You only see colors. How do you know that these are objects? But you want to believe. You want to believe, and due to ignorance, The mind believes it. When you see these objects, you want to deal with these objects. You want to associate with these objects. That's why you feel that you associate with these objects and you have many objects. That's why you feel that you have a wealth. That's why the ego wants to collect more. And after that, you want to offer them. Please offer. But I'm not saying any wrong of that, any bad of that. The ego wants to collect these things. The ego wants to be someone in the world. That's why you have goals and dreams. You want to be someone. Because you see other people, don't you? You see other people. Look, around you there are many people you see. But there are many colors you see, ladies and gentlemen. You don't see any people, any person. You only see colors. When you see colors, the mind wants to create human beings because the mind, which means the ego, wants to exist. Without these objects, you can't talk about yourself. Can you? Can you talk about yourself? If you can talk about yourself, at least, even a word, even a sentence, come to the stage and talk. If you can talk about yourself, I don't want you to talk about any object. I want you to talk about yourself. You can't. Think about that. One sentence, just one sentence. You have done many things. You have offered many things to the Sasana and other sectors. You have achieved a lot of things. You have accumulated or you have acquired many things on your name. I want you to speak about yourself. One sentence. Even one sentence. I'm pretty sure you can't. When I ask you to come here and speak about yourself, you will talk about objects. My name, my father, my mother, my family, my car, my dream, my goal. I ask you to talk about you. You are talking about yourself, which means yourself means what you possess. Things that you possess. You always talk about objects. In that case, you can see when you see an object, the ego exists. That's why the ego likes objects, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you collect objects. You are fond of objects. Can you live without objects? No. You want them. You grab them, you acquire them, and you use them. Sometimes you offer them to the Sasana or someone. You like to do all these things. That's why when you see these things, you see beauty. Objects are beautiful, very beautiful. Don't you feel that? Objects are very beautiful. When you see objects, either you are happy or sad, however you want to see objects. When you are sad, do you want to attain Nibbāna? When you are happy, I'm pretty sure that you don't want to attain Nibbāna because you want to stay in the world because you are happy right now, perhaps. When you are sad, do you want to stop reincarnation? Most of the time, people don't want to do that. That's why we don't talk about reincarnation, we say. Well, that's not the proper reincarnation people talk about. The Buddha said something different. Reincarnation is completely different, according to the Buddha. If you have to stop reincarnation, you won't be able to eat, you won't be able to drink, you won't be able to experience your life. Perhaps you don't like that. Because the ego wants to exist. The ego wants to live. That's why when you live, you collect materialistic things and you live with them. When I tell these things, please try to contemplate. When I talk about you, you have all these experiences. Go to these experiences and see them. Then you will realize. I want you to realize the Dhamma. I want you to realize the truth in front of me while I'm doing the sermon. From time to time, I'll remind you what you have done and what you have collected, what you have acquired, and what happened to you finally. When I tell these things, I want you to go through. I want you to realize. Perhaps you are in your 50s, 60s, 70s, but still you can't talk about yourself, ladies and gentlemen. You always talk about some object, something. We need to find a solution. Otherwise, you will come back. You will come back. Then you have to start this journey again. In this very life, we suffer. We suffer a lot, as you all know. You all are suffering. You all work hard because you have your goals to achieve. You can't leave them behind. When you have a goal, the ego likes goals, ladies and gentlemen. The ego likes. The ego wants to have goals. Then the ego feels its existence. The ego wants that. Because the ego doesn't have existence. That's why the ego wants to create an existence. By using all these things, the ego wants to live. The false sense of existence. Therefore, the mind has to maintain that. Perhaps the mind doesn't like, because the mind is the sacred thing in the world, the most sacred thing in the world, I would say. The mind, your mind is the Buddha. The pure mind. But it is defiled. It is defiled and it creates the ego. That's why you feel that you live and you have these things. Whatever you have. And you like to maintain, and you like other people to talk about that. When other people talk about what you have, you like. You like and you are over the moon and you want them to talk more about yourself. Yourself means again your possessions. Think about that. Sometimes you like people to talk about your beauty. Therefore, you want to be beautiful. Therefore, most of the time you use some hours, I would say at least 2 to 3 hours, to make your face beautiful. It's okay. It's okay. That's the only thing you have, perhaps. You means I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the ego. Ego is so poor, ladies and gentlemen. He has to create everything. It has to create everything. It has to create and be satisfied. It likes to be beautiful. Therefore, it forces the mind to make your face beautiful. Then the mind has to do these things because the mind is so ignorant and helpless. When ignorance in the mind is so helpless. Therefore, the mind has to do. The mind is governed by ignorance. That's why you do all these things. But ultimately, what will happen to you? What will happen to these things? I'm not saying that this is decaying and it will be destroyed one day. I'm not talking about these things. Right now, this is not an object. That's what you need to understand. Right now also, this is not an object. Therefore, we don't talk about decaying things. We need to realize the truth. We need to realize what you see, what you perceive. When you perceive colors, I want you to perceive colors, ladies and gentlemen. Don't add anything. Why do you add things to that? When you see colors, please perceive colors. Can you prove that this is a human being? Can you prove that this is a bouquet of flowers? You assume. You assume according to the ego. Because the ego wants to see objects. Therefore, the mind is forced to perceive an object here. That's why you see objects. Otherwise, you can't prove that this is an object or this is an object, this is a being. How do you know that this is a being? Because you want to see. You want to perceive beings because you believe. You believe in beings. You believe in the concept of beings. You believe in the concept of objects. But the problem is, when you perceive objects, you will perceive yourself. When you perceive yourself, the kingdom of heaven is transferred to hell. Therefore, right now you experience hell. But you possess the kingdom of heaven. According to Jesus Christ. He said that the kingdom of heaven is within you. If it is within you, can you experience it? If it is within you, you should be able to experience it. Actually, it is within you. But it has been converted to hell. Therefore, you always try to come out of hell. That's why you do all these things. That's why you learn. You learn how to come out of hell. You study, you learn, you have degrees, PhDs, everything. Because you wanted to come out of hell. Still you want to come out of hell. That's why you are here now. You have been coming to this sermon because you want to come out of hell. A hell has been created. Your kingdom of heaven is transferred to hell. You experience hell. You lost serenity in the mind. Try to understand that. Try to understand your problem, ladies and gentlemen. Why do you experience hell? Why do you suffer? Why do you suffer given that the kingdom of heaven is within you? We are here to help you, ladies and gentlemen. We want you to wake yourself up. You are the only person who can do that. We can't do it. We can help, we can guide. We can preach. We can explain things. But you had to save. You had to save yourself. You had to experience the kingdom of heaven. Otherwise, you will always try to come out of hell. When I say hell, I'm talking about vexation. Your mind is not to be vexed, ladies and gentlemen. Your mind is the kingdom of heaven. It is not pleasurable, it is not vexatious. The mind should be serene. The mind should be serene. If you experience happiness, you have a problem. If you experience vexation, you have a problem. The mind should be serene. Serenity is completely different to happiness. When you are happy, you are vexed because you want to be happy. You want to be happy and you want happiness to remain. Happiness to last long. Therefore, you like happiness. Therefore, you do many things to create happiness and stay in happiness. Again, you have to work hard to be happy. But I'm telling you, you don't have to do that, ladies and gentlemen. Your mind is originally serene. That is the natural state of the mind. It is serene. Due to ignorance, it has become vulnerable. You always want to help people. I know. You offered these things to help people. You offer these things, you offer many things to other people. Perhaps to achieve their salvation or perhaps to come out of hell. However, sometimes you believe that poverty is the problem. If the poverty is the problem, then you try to eradicate that, you try to eliminate that. Therefore, you offer things, you help. You like your helping nature. You respect people who help others. I have seen a man and a woman who are destitute. They suffer a lot. Can you help them? Who suffer a lot. Can you help them? Can you? Do you think that I'm blaming you? No. Can you help them? A woman and a man. They are destitute. They live in hell. They'll always try. They always try to come out of hell. If you can help, it would be great. Can you? That man is you. That woman is you. But the problem is you don't understand that. Because you always think about your possessions, ladies and gentlemen, therefore you feel a superficial fulfillment. You try to be satisfied with what you have, what you possess. Therefore, you can't feel that you are destitute. Therefore, you never ask for help. You think that you have enough. Perhaps you think that you are the richest person in the world. Therefore, you never ask for help. That's the biggest mistake. Or that's the biggest punishment. Someone is suffering, but they can't understand that they are suffering. Therefore, they never seek refuge in the Buddha. When I say the Buddha, I'm not talking about the Lord Buddha. I'm talking about the noble salvation. Because there are many salvations in the world. You have been using these salvations. You couldn't use only one. You always wanted to achieve your salvation because you were suffering. Because of that, you wanted to come out of that suffering. You wanted to eradicate suffering. In that case, you wanted to achieve a salvation. But you didn't know about the noble salvation. Through the Dhamma, perhaps you have seen that. noble salvation. Samma vimukti, the Buddha said. Samma vimukti. There are many salvations, ladies and gentlemen. You got married. You got married. Complete the sentence. To seek refuge in marriage. Isn't that nice? You got married because you wanted to achieve your salvation. You thought that that's your salvation. And there are some young people here. They will do this. Even though they listen to these sermons, they will definitely do this. Because they haven't seen the noble salvation. Samma vimukti. Without seeing that, you won't practice. Without seeing that, you won't seek refuge in the Buddha, in the Dhamma and the Sangha. The Dhamma means the truth. The truth which is created in the mind, which is not in the book or not in holy books. You can't find the truth in books, ladies and gentlemen. You only find the truth in your mind. Because the truth has to be created in the mind. The truth is also an effect. We had to add reasons. We had to add causes. When causes are gathered up, then the truth is created in your mind. And the Sangha is not what you think. The Sangha is the path to salvation. You had to seek refuge in the path to salvation. Before that, you had to see. The path should appear in front of you. It appears when you have the truth. The truth appears, or the truth is created in your mind when you choose the correct salvation. There are two types of salvation. One is noble, other one is ignoble. When it comes to the noble path, it has only one path. Because there is only one truth. There is only one salvation, proper salvation. Therefore, there should be only one path. That's why the Buddha said, Ekayano ayam bhikkhave maggo sattanam visuddhya. There is only one path to purify your mind. But when it comes to ignoble path, the ignoble salvation, there are many paths. Marriage is one of them. Whatever you have been doing, all those things are ignoble. When I say ignoble, I'm not saying that it is bad. It is ignoble, which means you had to do it over and over again, but you never get the result you expected. You will do it. You can see that you have been doing. You wanted to see, and you have been seeing. You wanted to taste, you have been tasting. How many types of food? How many more do you want to taste? Still you are fond of food, ladies and gentlemen. It has been 60 years, 70 years. Still you are fond of food. You couldn't win. The food won. You have been defeated all the time. Therefore, you still eat whatever you want. You make and eat. You buy and eat. You work your fingers to the bone for eating. Sometimes you think that we do all these things to eat or for eating. Why don't we eat? We should eat properly. Eating is the only thing we have. Likewise. But you couldn't understand about food, ladies and gentlemen. The Buddha asks us to realize about food. If you can't do that, you will be a slave to food. Rather than you eat food. Oh, you are really good at filling gaps. The food that you like has been eating your human life, because you won't get this again. You had a chance. You had a chance to achieve your salvation. You had a chance to experience the kingdom of heaven. But unfortunately, you didn't focus on that. I'm telling you these things, ladies and gentlemen, when you focus on this and when you understand this, you will definitely become one of us. Definitely, I can guarantee that. I can guarantee that. No matter who you are, you can be the king of God. Sakra. Sorry, not the president. Perhaps you can be Sakra, or you can be Brahma. When you understand the truth, you will definitely be like us. I can guarantee that. Because I can't live with you. I can't do what you do, ladies and gentlemen. I can't practice what you practice. I don't feel that I have any title. I have, there is any title for me in the world. If you offer me to be the president of the country, and I had to disordain and go, my mind won't accept that. And Sakka? No. That's what I'm telling you. You can't buy me. You can't make me happy. You can't offer me a job or a title for me to work. I want you to achieve that at least. I'm not saying that my path is completed, but that's how I feel. I feel that I don't belong to this world. Therefore, I can't be satisfied with whatever you do. I want you to achieve that. You haven't experienced this, ladies and gentlemen. You haven't experienced this. That's why you do what you have been doing. And you want to do it more. But finally you will die. You will die empty-handed. I can guarantee that. Your father died empty-handed. Your mother, your grandfather, your grandmother, everyone died empty-handed. And you will also. Therefore, I want you to understand this. I want you to understand at least food. But you see food, ladies and gentlemen. You see food as objects. And you think that you eat the food that you have seen. You think that you eat colors. You think that you eat taste. You think that you eat smell. Because you eat food. But we eat energy. We are the disciples of the Buddha. We eat energy. You eat food. That's the difference between your food and our food. Can you eat colors? Which color do you like to eat? Yellow or red? Which color do you want to eat? Because you strongly believe that your food is colorful. And you want them to be colorful. You add colorings, even though they are not healthy. You add colorings. You like colorful cakes. You strongly believe that everything is colorful. Therefore, you strongly believe that food is also colorful. And you think that you eat colors as well. And especially sound. You eat sound as well. You want to eat papada. You want that sound. Actually, if you have enough money, you can hire someone. Whenever you eat, they have to do that. to make that sound. Because you can't eat sound, ladies and gentlemen. I think you have learned all these things from your teacher. You can't eat sound because sound is your mind. Sound is created in the mind, which means the sound is your mind. A color is your mind. A taste is your mind. Can you eat your mind? Can you swallow your mind, ladies and gentlemen? No. You just perceive them. Food is tasteless, colorless, soundless, smellless. It is not tangible. Food. You only experience your own mind. Try to understand this, ladies and gentlemen. If you can understand this, you will be healthy. Right now you have to go for dietary plans because you want to eat. You want to eat food. That's the problem. If you can understand the truth, you can be healthy. If you can remember, you offered one of your sons to the Sasana a year ago. Perhaps you saw him today. Have you recognized him? Have you recognized him? He's a hero. I think he managed to reduce at least 70 kilograms. Perhaps, I can't remember. That means a weight of another man. He's a hero. Because he took, or he found refuge in the Buddha. If you can understand food, it will be a huge victory. You have to understand and realize. But if you think that food is colorful and it has taste, or the food is tasty, you can't come out of that. You get attached to it. Because the mind gets attached to colors, ladies and gentlemen. The mind can't get attached to energy. I repeat it. The mind can't get attached to energy. The mind only perceives colors, sound, taste, touch, smell, and thoughts. It only gets attached to those things. It can't see energy. It can't perceive energy. Therefore, it doesn't care. Actually, the mind doesn't care what you take, what you eat. It only cares the color. It always asks, is the color okay? Then I will eat. Is the taste okay? Then I will eat. Apart from that, what did you want? Just imagine that, ladies and gentlemen. Food doesn't have all these things. It is energy. Try to contemplate that. When you contemplate that, you will only take energy. How many types of energy do you have? Only one. Whatever you eat, ladies and gentlemen, that's food. If it is edible, it is food. Contemplate. Then you won't have any variety. But you like to have a huge variety of food because you believe that this is yellow color, but this is red color. Therefore, this is red rice and this is yellow rice. Let me have yellow rice. As though you can eat colors. If you can eat colors, let me give you some pastels. Some watercolors. You can eat them. After that, you can have your lunch. Food is energy. Contemplate. From today, try to contemplate this for a month. For a month, just for a month, ladies and gentlemen, you will see the difference. When you practice the truth, you will be the truth. Understand it first. Colors are created in the mind, which means the color is the mind. This Rupa Vedana Sanya Sankara Vijnana. This is the mind. Can you eat that? Not the bottle. The sound. Because you are really good at eating sound. Because you need papadam to eat. You can eat that as well. Then today you don't want your lunch. Let me help you. I'm going to offer some alms to them. Right? Are you okay with that? Eat this. When you're satisfied, tell me. Oh, I show this. Because this is the color. Color can't be eaten. The sound can't be eaten. Rupa Vedana Sanya Sankara Vijnana. This is the process of the mind, ladies and gentlemen. This is the process. Then when it comes to Rupa, this Rupa has to be created. This is the very first thing you should understand. This is a process. Your mind is a process. I talk about these things because you have learned these things. And I'm pretty sure that you start contemplating as well. Rupa. This Rupa has to be created first of all. That is the first step of the mind. Because it's a process and it has five steps. The first step is Rupa. Then the Rupa has to be created. You can't find Rupa in the world. You can't find this Rupa in the world. This is not. You see this one, ladies and gentlemen. See means you perceive this. Oh, I said this. You perceive this. You perceive this, but first of all, the color must be created. When the color is created, it is notified. This is the notification. When the color is created, it is notified. In that case, you can see the color has to be created first. You can't see colors here. This is not the color. Wherever you see your own mind, that is the experience. The color is created and it is notified and it is identified and finally it is perceived. Then when you see this bouquet, you see some colors. You see some colors and you think that, or the ego is, anyway, it is ignorant, and the ego sees color or colors, ego sees colors in the bouquet. But actually, the color is created, that is the mind. I can't say that the color is created in the mind. The color is created, that is the mind. That is the first step of the process of the mind, the color. After that, it is notified. That's how you see. And it is identified. In that case, you can see the first step must be done. If the first step occurs, the process occurs. Therefore, whenever you see colors, you should understand, you should realize that that's your mind. There are two things. One is energy, the other one is the mind. The mind is also some energy, ladies and gentlemen, but let's don't talk about that. Energy. Wherever you see, that is energy. If you take an air particle, that is energy. When you see these flowers, that is energy. When you see your food, that's also energy. That's also energy, but what you see is your mind. Food is energy. What you see, what you experience is your mind. Because the mind itself is the experience. That's why the Buddha said no one is there to experience anything. The process of the mind is the experience. To experience something, you need something first. That thing is created here. That is Rupa. After that, it is notified. That means the Rupa is created and that creation is notified. The Rupa is created, whatever the Rupa, there are 6 types of Rupa. Colors, sounds, taste, smells, touch, and thoughts. That should be formed. That's why Rupa is called form. Actually, it is not form, it should be formation. It is formation. It has to be formed. You can't find colors in the world. Try to understand that and contemplate. You can't find these colors in the world. You can't find this color in the world. But you see colors. See means that's Vedana. That's the second step. You see colors. You see colors because the color is created in the mind. The first step must be done if you want to experience anything. In that case, you can understand that these colors are not in the world, these colors are created in the mind, which means that is the first step of the mind. When the color is created, it is notified, that's how you see something. And after that, it is identified. And finally, it is perceived. That's how you perceive something. Therefore, whenever you perceive something, you should understand that you perceive your own mind. If you perceive your own mind, why do you want to find colors in food? Why do you want to find colors on faces? Why do you really think that you are fair and someone is dark and someone is brown and so on? Because of ignorance. Why people fight? Why do people fight, ladies and gentlemen? They fight because of ignorance. They see black and white. They think that skin is black and the other skin is white. That's how they think. What colors are created in the mind? And taste is also the same. I want you to understand this and come out of that hell. You are, perhaps, again, I'm not telling all these things to one person, okay? I'm talking to everyone. Therefore, if you are not in hell, that's fine. I'm not talking to you. Hmm? You became a slave. You became a slave to food. You can't come out of that. Perhaps you are angry. You are angry with food, that's why you eat it. Hmm? Whenever you see food, let me eat it. Hmm? And you eat, you eat, you eat. Just imagine that, ladies and gentlemen. You eat because of colors. You eat because of taste. But the body, your stomach, screams and says that eat. I don't want to use that word. Full. I'm not saying that. Your stomach. Now your stomach speaks. Full. It's enough. Don't give me energy. It's enough. But the mind can't hear. Because the mind can't deal with energy. The mind only deals with its experiences. That's why you eat until your stomach full and your throat is also full. That's how you know, which means that's how the mind knows. Otherwise, you have to use wisdom. You should understand that this much of energy is enough. In that case, you can't be a slave to food or slave to taste. You should understand that. Therefore, if you want to taste, find another method, ladies and gentlemen. Don't use food for that. If you use food for that, you destroy your body and you will die. The ego does these things to survive. The ego is ignorant. But you are the mind. You are the mind, therefore you have to protect your body. You had to protect your body, you had to protect your mind, you had to protect your life. There is a cure. As I told you, like us, why can't you eat energy? Please don't ever think that we suffer when we eat. Now you offered many things to us. Can you remember? And I think there were more than 200 people. Huh? And 200 types of food has been offered at that time. Had been offered. Just imagine that. And you mixed them and offered it to us. We ate. We ate. We didn't suffer. Because you didn't offer any stones, plastic, wood. You offered everything which is edible, digestible. That's the only thing we need. Because we eat energy. The Buddha helped us. Swagatang vatame asi mama buddhassa santi. The Buddha helped us. Therefore, we eat happily because we never expect food to be tasty. That's why I told you, if you want to experience taste, perhaps eat chewing gum. But don't put it in. Meat flavored chewing gum. You just chew and throw it away. You don't put it in. If you put something in, it is digested and it is absorbed. And your body will be unhealthy, obese, and you will die very soon. Understand about food. By saying all these things, I'm not saying that you are greedy for food, but I know that the ego wants to be satisfied with taste. Therefore, we had to separate these two, food and taste, because the food doesn't have taste. Food doesn't have taste, therefore we can separate if you can understand this. If you can understand this, you won't expect taste from food. Please contemplate. Then you won't expect. When you take some medicine, you won't expect taste. Do you? You don't expect taste from medicine. You just take it. Do you use medicine to experience taste? Anyone? Oh. Likewise, understand about food. If you can understand about food, you will understand about everything. This will be a huge victory, this action. Huge victory. Sometimes you can't come and associate with us because of food. Sometimes, I don't know. As you think that I have a good lifestyle, how can I go to the monastery and live there? What good lifestyle you are talking about? You eat yellow? You eat the color yellow? Is that the lifestyle you have? You eat rice plus yellow. Because you eat yellow rice. You have a very rich lifestyle, let's say, very rich lifestyle, because you eat yellow rice. In our monastery, we eat white rice. We eat white rice, but actually we don't eat white, the color white, we just eat rice. We just eat energy. But you eat yellow rice. If that is the case, please let us know, ladies and gentlemen, then we will give you some colors before you eat. Then you don't have to sacrifice your human life. You come to the monastery and you stay with us. Before your lunch, we will offer you some colors to eat. Otherwise, you should know that you can't eat colors. Therefore, whether you eat white rice or yellow rice, it doesn't make any difference. But your mind wants to have yellow rice. You all are well educated. That's why I invite you to contemplate about these things. Please, you are well educated. You are really good at understanding things. You understand things and you practice. That's how you develop your life, develop your career. You understand things. I don't think you have a blind faith in anyone, anything. This is the truth. If you want, you can check. Colors are created in the mind. If you check with scientists, they will say that colors are created in the brain because they only know about brain. That's it, about a brain. Otherwise, because they can't talk about the mind. They also will definitely say that colors are not in objects. Understand it, please, and practice. Then you won't have that issue anymore. I'm pretty sure your children won't come, they don't like perhaps, they don't like to come to the monastery and stay with us. They like to come to the monastery and earn some merits, engage in merit work. I respect that. But sometimes they don't want to come and stay with us because of their lifestyle, because of food, because they expect their food to be tasty as per their wish. That's a problem. When the mind experiences something, it gets attached to it. Then the mind wants it again, over and over again. That's why when you eat something and you feel that it is so tasty, then you want to experience it over and over again. Because the mind, when the mind gets attached to something, the mind wants to experience it. But if you can teach the mind about the truth, the mind will accept it. The mind is not a fool. It is insane. It is insane. It is not a fool. It is not foolish. Therefore, whenever you teach it, it will understand. That's why you come here and you listen to people who have understood the truth. Let the mind learn. Understand this and use. If you can use this, that is the practice. Whenever you eat something, apply the truth into that. You should be able to see energy and colors differently. That doesn't mean that you will see energy through your naked eyes and colors separately. That's not the practice I ask you to do. In your mind, using your wisdom, you should be able to see these two separately. Because colors are not in food. Therefore, you should see food separately, colors separately. Don't ever eat anything because of the color. Eat food because of the necessity. If you want, you can check this. You can prepare some food, perhaps red rice with sambal. Is that the word sambal? And some bitter gourd, and give to your children. And make a biryani as well. Then you will see how many plates of rice they eat. I ask you to do it to your kids. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do this experience with yourself. Do that to your children, then you will see. They can eat more. Red rice, only one plate, one spoon. I can't eat this, mummy. But biryani, can I have more? Then they ask for more. They suddenly become Oliver Twist. Ask for more. But do you really think that when you prepare biryani, their stomach gets bigger? They have the same stomach. Then why do they eat more? Why can't they eat more red rice? In that case, you can see the difference is in the taste as well as in the color. That's it. But the color is not in the food, and the taste is not also in the food. Then they had that difference because of ignorance, essentially. When you do that experiment to yourself, you may commit suicide, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I told you not to do that. Because you have a PhD, double PhD, triple PhD, and you are someone in your company. But still you eat more biryani than red rice. Do you really think that you achieved something in your life? I'm sorry to say these things, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes I don't like to preach. Because when I talk about the truth, it can be an insult. It can be an insult to everyone. But that's not my fault. I'm talking about the truth. I'm here to present to you the truth. Then if you use the wrong path in your life, you always be shameful. I have experienced all these things, ladies and gentlemen, because I was among you as well as I am among the Buddha's disciples. In that case, I can see. I experience all these things. Therefore, I can surely say this. I can be certain. And the other thing is, why do you pay for more? When you want to eat something, you go to a shop and you buy something. Then they say, this is red rice, 100 rupees. This is biryani, 2,000 rupees. What do you want? Then you might think, I'm rich. I earn. This is my money. Why don't I eat good food? You argue with you and you go for 2,000. Then you pay 2,000 rupees and you buy. At the same time, you are proud. Perhaps you are proud of you. Because you you spent 2,000 rupees for yourself. Perhaps you think that you treat yourself well because you have read those things in those books. First of all, you have to treat yourself. Have you read all these things? I have read. And you eat biryani. You rejected red rice. It is 100 rupees. What's in it? Red rice. It has energy. Energy plus a dye, a pigment. In biryani, perhaps it's yellowish. Oh, I don't know, whatever it is. It has some dyes, some pigments. With the help of those pigments, a color is created in the mind. Therefore, you can see red rice and biryani. The difference is in the color. The difference is in the taste. But both of them have same energy. Imagine that. When you understand this, you don't have to pay more. Then you can save your money. Time is money. Have you heard that? Wise sayings. Time is money. It is not wise anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Time is money is wrong. That's how we also thought. Time is money. But when we understood the Dhamma, it became time is an illusion. Therefore, money is your life. You sell your life to build things that the ego wants. You sell, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, you sell your sacred life to buy a dress. Can you imagine that? Because the dress you have is yellow, but you want a red one. You can buy, you can exchange with money? No. With your life. You go for shopping, you give your life, and you take some clothes. Think about these things, ladies and gentlemen. There is a saying, don't sell the sun to buy a candle. But you sell your life to buy a piece of cloth. Because you think that your clothes are colorful, your clothes are beautiful. You believe in those things. Therefore, you sell your life. Actually, what is the cost of your life? Sometimes it's like 500 rupees. Because you spend it, ladies and gentlemen, you spend it. Sometimes you have a party. Then you sell your life for free. Imagine these things. I don't tell you to stop parties or change your life or anything. I want you to understand this. And please don't think that I tell negative things. This is not negative, ladies and gentlemen. This is the truth. You sell your life. Why can't you understand that? When you are in a party, perhaps you spend 2 hours for nothing. You sell your life for free. And sometimes you listen to songs, you watch movies, TV series. You watch all these things. And you sell your life. Because you can't take it back, ladies and gentlemen, can you? Can you take your life back? Sometimes you acquire a piece of land or a house or a car by investing some money. But money is time. Time is an illusion. Therefore, again, you spend your life for that. Now you have a land. Therefore, I have a solution. You have a land by spending your life. You sold your life and you got a land. When you are on your deathbed, we can sell the land and get the life back. Yes? If you are a good businessman, think about that. You have a business. You have spent your whole life to build it. Now you have a big business. Let's assume that. Finally, that's your life anyway. Then when you are on your deathbed, what do you want? Money? Wealth? Or life? When you are on your deathbed, what do you want? Money, wealth, or life? Life. But you have spent your life and bought some pieces of land, and you have businesses. Okay. Now, let's make a deal. And you know that, ladies and gentlemen, you just spent your life. That's it. You can't get it back. So far, you have spent your life for something, you can't get it back. You can sell and you can get money. Again, money is also an illusion, ladies and gentlemen. If you talk about a real thing, that's your life. That's why we always ask you to protect your life. I don't want you to sell your life for a vehicle. Rather, we walk, ladies and gentlemen, walk. We have our life. What have you done to your life? The ego can be satisfied with what you have. Because the ego doesn't care, ladies and gentlemen, because the ego is not real. Ignorance creates the ego. The ego doesn't care because it's not real. It's an illusion. It doesn't matter. It doesn't care. Therefore, it uses your beautiful life Please understand the Dhamma. This is very important, ladies and gentlemen. This is as important as your food. If you don't take food, you will die. If you don't take the Dhamma, if you don't understand the Dhamma, you will kill yourself. You will destroy your very life. As you have destroyed. If you don't believe me, sell something and take your life back. Sometimes you tell that this is my life earnings, they say. Life earnings, so I mean, answer. Sometimes you say that this is my life's earnings. Okay. But when you offer that to someone means it's a sasana or someone who needs it, you can earn some merits. But you can't earn your life. But when you are meritorious, perhaps you can get another life, another human life. That is very important. Anyway, you will get another life. Perhaps two-legged or four-legged or more than that. You will get a life, but you need a human life, ladies and gentlemen. To get a human life, you have to earn a lot of merits. That means you have to spend a lot of life to get a human life. You got this human life by spending a lot of life. I had to say these words, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of lives. A lot of lives, a lot of time. When I say a lot of time, you will understand. But a lot of lives, perhaps English is not correct. Likewise, you had to spend a lot of life right now to get another life, another human life. But what's the point in getting all these things, ladies and gentlemen? Now you got one, what do you do? Then when you get another life, will you use it for good? We have to stop this, ladies and gentlemen. We have to stop this, otherwise, over and over again, we have to take it. Before you die, you have to pray to God. Please, God, please give me another human life. If I am God, I would definitely ask. For what? Then you will answer, I like yellow rice. I want to experience yellow rice. I like that taste, this color, this sound. Please let me have another human life. I'm pretty sure God will say, oh, don't worry, my son. You can enjoy all these things even when you are an animal. Therefore, I offer you that. If you really want to achieve your salvation, I'll offer you a human life. Because that's the difference. That's the difference between animals and human beings. Animals can't achieve their salvation, but human beings can. But eating, drinking, sleeping, and having sex, those four basic needs, four basic things, can be practiced by animals. Therefore, if you live for eating, you are nothing but histanak. You have to fill the blank. If you live for sound, if you live for all these things, you should realize that you got a human life, but you used it for wrong things. You didn't use your human life well. If you don't use your human life well, what would God say? What time should I finish? No? I can talk to you because you are so meritorious and you have your teacher here and he always talk about you highly. He loves you a lot. That's why he comes every Sunday to Rajagiriya. Oh, it's a headache for me, but he does that. You are meritorious. But I didn't insult you, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't mean. I wanted you to understand this. I wanted you to use your life for good. Please, don't waste your life. If I were you, I wouldn't waste my life like that. Before this understanding, I also used to do these things. But right now, I use my life to the fullest. Because I don't want another life. I'm going to use this life to the fullest. Every mind of this life, not every inch, not every penny, every mind of this life, I want to use it for good and to help people to achieve their salvation. Therefore, we all are with you. I want you to come to the monastery. If not today, tomorrow. You can plan. You have spent more than half of your life. But still, you know the thing. Still, you can see objects. With that, you can feel yourself. Then you think that the world exists. And the world consists of objects, subjects, and actions. But the truth is, the world only consists of actions. Seeing occurs. There is nothing to see. There is no one to see. Hearing occurs. There is nothing to hear. There is no one to hear. When you experience something to hear, the person also is created to witness it. The Buddha said, Ditte dittamatam bhavisati. Seeing is only an action. You don't have colors to see. Seeing has colors. Seeing, the action seeing has colors, and seeing and recognition and perception. Seeing. When you see something, the action seeing, it has these 5 things. Therefore, you can't see, or you don't have anything in the world to see. In that case, if only the mind exists, the ego doesn't exist, which means the false sense of existence doesn't exist. That means your existence doesn't exist. It is only a false sense of existence. You will realize this too. Then your mind will be the kingdom of heaven. As the Guru Thero in the monastery, I invite you all to come to the monastery frequently. I know you can't come and stay there because you have a lot of things to do before you die. Oh, sorry. I would say, you have a lot of things to buy by spending your or selling your life because you are still breathing, perhaps. But I want you to change your mind. We are here for you. Again, I'm telling you, for you means actually we are here with you. Let's run together, ladies and gentlemen. I can't run on behalf of you. I can't run for you. We all can be with you, run with you. And this is the final and ultimate goal you should have. Goal means the task you should have. Let's work together. You come to the monastery frequently, earn merits. There are more merit work. You can come there and you can do, earn merits, associate with Mahasangha, and be one of us. Then I'll see you next time. May the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem be with you all.